Minutes after 8 o'clock on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded 8 o'clock newscast, streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. A DeWitt County historical site is using the off-season to finish a much-needed renovation. Joey Long is the director of the DeWitt County Museum and C.H. Moore Homestead and explains they are replacing the wood flooring in 2 of the mansion's rooms. She notes this project can only be completed when they are closed for tours for the season.
Well, every year the museum is closed to tours January, February, and March. But that does not mean that we are not busy. In fact, sometimes, it's a little more busy, because we take on so many projects. And a lot of times those projects are things that could only be done when the museum was closed and we weren't welcoming visitors. So probably the biggest project that we have going on right now is replacing the wood on the floor of the formal parlor and the music room. So originally they were going to just do the music room, but the board decided to go ahead and do both rooms. And so that wood flooring was delivered last week, and it is currently stacked quite high in the entry hallway. I'm told that the wood needs to acclimate to the conditions of the house before you actually lay it. And I expect that they'll be starting on actually laying the floor sometime next week. So we're very excited about that.
When making necessary renovations, Long says they seek to be as historically accurate as possible for the floor. That means finding the right type of wood and recreating how it was originally constructed.
The board of directors definitely took that into consideration when taking on this project. So you want to make sure that the wood is the right thickness, the right width, so that it's in keeping with what would have been used during that time period. And I'm told there's also going to be some decorative inlay. So that's another reflection of, the board trying to keep this in line with what the home would have been when C.H. Moore resided there from the 1880s up to 1901. So I think it's going to be quite beautiful when it's done, and we're just really looking forward to that, and seeing how it turns out. So I do not believe, I know that the flooring in the formal parlor, I came across some papers the other day. I think that the flooring was last attended to in 1974, and when they did that, they laid a wall-to-wall carpeting, which wasn't really period correct. In the music room, they went with period correct carpeting. It was woven in 12-inch strips and sewn together as it would have been back in the day. But so this is nice. What they're going to do now is going to more reflect what would be a historical accuracy as far as what might have been on the floor at that time.
Long assures the project will be complete by the time the museum reopens in April. She looks forward to showing off the improvements to guests in the 2025 season.
So it will certainly be done by the time the museum opens on April 1st. So we're really excited about being able, to open the doors for the 2025 season, and, everybody can come in and take a look at these beautiful new floors. Now, it will be beautiful when it's done. You should see what the museum looks like now, because obviously all of those furnishings from those 2 rooms had to be moved out. The museum, it has a very strange look right now, all furniture everywhere, but, it's quite an upheaval at this moment, but oh my goodness, when it's all done and everything's put back in place and arranged and staged, it will be beautiful.
Visit the C.H. Moore Homestead when it opens for the season in April. In the meantime, get more information at chmoorehomestead.org or find the homestead on social media. Residents of McLean County will be casting a vote this spring that could implement a tax that benefits local schools. Superintendent of Blue Ridge Schools, Dr. Hillary Stanifer, explains the April election will have a referendum on the ballot for a 1-cent sales tax. Although Blue Ridge Schools would not hugely benefit from this, she feels it would be a helpful boost to all districts of McLean County.
So that's our county facility sales tax, kind of a mouthful, but that's asking the voters in McLean County only if they would be willing to approve that. And if so, that 1% sales tax would be able to be used inside of all the districts that are part of McLean County. We've always been able to use sales tax money for facilities, so some upgrades, but we can also now, we have approval that we can use that for mental health concerns. So that could be counselors, it could be psychologists, it could be social workers, because those needs just continue to increase. I know that since I've been superintendent, I think we've gone from, we use Tri-County Special Education Co-op for our social workers, but we've gone from 2 days a week of a social worker to now 2 full-time social workers in the district. So, and we're not very large. We're, 670 students, but if our need has risen that much, I can't imagine what some of the bigger schools' needs are. So definitely mental health and any safety measures such as secure entries and things like that those monies could be used for those upgrades as well.
The amount of money school districts receive is prorated to the number of students that reside in McLean County. Dr. Stanifer explains the Blue Ridge only covers about 60 students of McLean County, so they would receive around $80,000.
So for us, we have a very small number of students. I think it's about 60 students that are in McLean County. So we would get our portion. It would be prorated based on enrollment for each of the districts that are part of McLean County. We would see they estimate maybe $80,000 a year. So I would not be able to do significant facility upgrades with that, but I definitely could be paying for a social worker plus, with those funds. That would be something that I could offset. I wouldn't have to issue taxes to cover the cost of that social worker. I could use the sales tax fund instead. Okay, so then all of the sales tax money that's generated, that all goes into one single pot. It actually goes through the ROE. And then the ROE, they ask us for every year. We get an ask of, give us your enrollment of your students broken down by what county they live in. So then that is put all together and they generate percentages. So I think I have like 0.28 of the enrollment in Blue Ridge. So then I'll get 0.28 of that sales tax pot that comes to me.
The tax would not apply to all purchased goods in McLean County. Dr. Stanifer explains it would be for non-essential purchases like gas and pre-prepared food from a grocery store or restaurant.
That extra
Purchases that are made in McLean County. For us, that's Bellflower. We don't sell a lot of things out of Bellflower, so mostly it would be it would impact our families if they were shopping perhaps in the Bloomington Normal area. Plus, you're going to have a lot of ISU purchases, right? A lot of families coming to visit students as well. So that's where a lot of that income is going to be generated from the visitors coming into the county. Things that will be taxed, groceries will not be taxed. Prepared food will be taxed. So you could be in a grocery store and you might get a little bit of a tax on if you buy a pre-made salad, something like that, but it's not going to be the salad ingredients. That would not be taxed. Fuel will be taxed. They will not be taxing larger farm implements and things like that farmers use. So there's a lot of exceptions to that, which is going to help the person who lives in McLean County. They're not going to be taxed across the board on everything. Basically, it's the wants, it's not the needs. So going out on the weekend and hitting the bar, they're going to be helping us with that sales tax right there.
Dr. Stanifer asks anyone with questions to reach out to her, and she'd be happy to have any individual conversations. Several counties in central Illinois already have this sales tax in place, including Logan, Macon, and Piatt counties. The coldest stretch of weather we've experienced in a few years is only going to last another day or two, and then temperatures should moderate. That's according to John Bumgardner at the National Weather Service in Lincoln, who tells Regional Radio on the WHOW Morning Show Monday temperatures will remain bitterly cold into Tuesday before a midweek rebound.
We had a bit of an Arctic intrusion down from Canada. The jet stream took a bit of a plunge south across the eastern plains and the Midwest southwest, and that's allowed cold air aloft. Temperatures at around 850 millibars got down to around negative 25 Celsius around here, which would be one of our colder spells, probably in the top 30 or so climatologically for Lincoln, Illinois, just based on previous upper air soundings we've taken. We release a weather balloon twice a day to measure that. Fortunately, temperatures at the surface didn't get overly cold last night, nothing near records, which are running about 20 below. Mm-hmm. This is really the coldest time of the year.
The cold air hasn't gotten nearly as cold as it could have, Bumgarner explains, because much of the snow melted in central Illinois over the last week. That has kept temperatures from getting even more cold than they already are.
Climatologically significant cold air mass, but as you mentioned at the surface, the weather we're experiencing hasn't been all that extreme, and I think a big part of that is winds, which kept wind chills around 10 to 15 below yesterday, but air temperatures stayed in the single digits and didn't drop off much overnight. We bottomed out here at -2 this morning, and that's because we kept just a little bit of wind. The other thing is the lack of a snowpack. The snow insulates the lower atmosphere from the earth and kind of prevents it from emitting a natural warmth overnight. And with the snowpack melting, thanks to the warm temperatures Thursday and Friday, that really saved us a little bit. If we had had a snowpack, I wouldn't be surprised if we had quite a few places reporting double-digit negative low temperatures this morning.
The cold won't last much longer. Bumgarner indicates there's relief on the way as we'll begin to moderate later in the week and even slightly get above normal for temperatures into the weekend. Get news anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. A look at sports comes up next.
Central Illinois' news, agriculture, and sports station, WHOW, the Big 1520 AM 90.